So, good evening, everybody. My name is Sarah Abrams. I am a sticker and magnet maker with a workshop in Stone Mountain Village. This is my interview series with entrepreneurs where we dig deep to learn the secrets to their success. If you have a side hustle while maintaining a 9 to 5, or you are a full-time business owner like Elizabeth, we always look to other success to inspire us and teach us. So we'll chat with Elizabeth Richmond today and try to uncover some of her secrets. Welcome, Elizabeth. I'm hoping that the baby makes a cameo. And are you good if I'm just going to read your bio really quickly, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the quietest I've ever seen you. All right.
I'm just waiting my turn patiently.
Okay. All right. Elizabeth is an Airbnb superhouse ambassador and property manager with over a decade of experience in the short-term rental industry. She holds bachelor's degrees in both biology and psychology from the College of Charleston, as well as a master's in educational leadership from the Citadel Military University of South Carolina. After teaching middle school for 12 grueling years, I had about she began investing, renovating, and managing real estate full time. In addition to home hosting, Elizabeth and her husband Troy host a variety of Airbnb experiences in the metro Atlanta area. She's on the executive board as a secretary for AMSTRA, the Atlanta Metro Short-Term Rental Alliance, where she advocates for responsible hosting and short-term rental rights. She also currently serves on the City of Stone Mountain's Historic Preservation Commission, and she is a contributing writer to the book Millennial on Fire. This book is great. But now I'm going to give you my personal introduction. So I've known Elizabeth and Troy for about 3 years. When she and Troy moved to Stone Mountain Village, you couldn't not acknowledge their presence. Troy is a little more stoic, but when Elizabeth enters a room, you know she's there. The Richmonds embraced their new community and began to rebuild a house they bought. Unfortunately, the house had not been maintained for years, and it was not an easy or inexpensive task. I don't think Elizabeth has ever seen an obstacle that stopped her. She's the type of person who just goes harder.
Have to agree.
Tell the truth. Even with the pressure of renovating their home, they immediately made fast and loyal friends. I've never seen neighbors become so involved so fast. Elizabeth and Troy soon welcomed baby Aaron into their lives. He's not even a year old, and he's traveled all over the states and charms all who meet him. Okay, so that's the background that I know. And I know I've skipped over the more important things about how you began your journey to entrepreneurship, um, hosting Airbnbs and buying a lot of property. That's when I read your chapter in the book. It was so interesting because you started in college.
Yep.
So let me see. But anything here that you want to add that I got wrong?
I mean, all good so far.
Okay, good. So let's see. All right. So this is what I've had many conversations with Elizabeth, and what I'm so interested in is how she took a leap of faith. But I'm going to preface this a little bit. So the story I had known was she was teaching middle school and somewhat, okay with it, but just knowing there was more in her life and her calling. But then what I learned from the book was that even in college, even as a kid, she had visions, she had ideas of where she wanted her life to be. And I want to know, if you want, we can go a little bit into the hustle that happened during college and after. And I honestly, I don't even know how old you are, but you're so young and you've done so much in your life.
I
Um,
got a couple grays. I'm
mm,
30,
right? Not
34 and
what?
34 years worth of grays.
Okay. I mean, guys, you don't, I mean, she's a a wife, a new mom. I mean, it's just the list is so long. Okay, so we'll get into some of the tools of the trade, but I am dying to know at some point how you ended up with 8,000 members on your Village of Stone Mountain Facebook page when we only have 6,000 residents. So there's some secret sauces going on here that I don't even know. She's so modest. Like I hope I can like draw this out of her. But if you're willing to share, we had a personal conversation once, and I don't know if you want to get into it about how your dad inspired you. Of course, I learned from the book this was way before he passed, but is that something you want to share with people, or
Might
because
as
it's
well,
such,
because
it's a
it's,
huge motivator from what
yeah, a
you
big part of
told
my
me.
inspiration then and still. So when I was like a little kid, my bedtime story every night was Rich Dad Poor Dad. And my dad would come home from work, we'd curl up in the bed, and like my some of my earliest memories ever were reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then it's a whole series after that. So Rich Kid Poor Kid and Rich This Poor This. And as an adult, I looked back on it and I was like, Dad, why did you read Rich Dad Poor Dad to me? Like I was a baby. And he said, well, I needed to read it, figured it can't hurt. You wanted a bedtime story, so it just became our thing. Um, my dad's story was very inspiring to me. So he grew up on an Amish farm. He had no running water or no electricity. When he got to high school, he and his brothers actually installed electricity in the farmhouse. So to this day, if you go visit, it's like hand-hewed log walls with
Oh,
electrical wires stapled to it to run
Oh,
to
wow.
electricity to the house.
yeah.
So it's really cool. And he wanted to go to college. My dad was very smart. However, when you grow up in that mindset, you don't always think higher education is the way to go. His father was a middle school principal, so they definitely valued education, but they didn't think about the cost of sending four boys to college.
Mhm.
Um, so my dad ended up paying his way through college, uh, working part-time at a vet hospital and part-time picking strawberries. And
Hmm.
so he just had so much work ethic and so much
Yes.
grit. And
Yeah.
he opened his first practice about 6 months before I was born.
Wait, why did I think he was a chiropractor? He was a vet?
Well, no, he worked at a vet hospital, sorry, then later became a chiropractor.
Oh,
So, but
okay.
he worked as a vet tech through college while he was becoming a chiropractor.
Very
Okay.
cool. And that's interesting that you talked about the book. My dad didn't read it to me as a kid, but he did give it to me when I was like in sixth, seventh grade, maybe. And he's
Um,
like, read this book, which makes me think I still have it, but it's been forever since I've read it. I should go back and read it
Yeah.
again.
I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times I've read it, and every time I'm in a different stage in life, so it says something different to me.
well,
Yeah.
it's all about mindset, right?
Yeah. And so I just always envied my father. He was always my hero. And I just always thought, like, I want that work ethic. I want that grit. He bought his first practice like 6 months before I was born, right after he got married, re-roofed the entire thing himself
Wow.
because he couldn't afford a roofer. And just like, I don't know, he had so much pride in everything that he did. And
Mm,
I idolized that my entire life. He was very much a work hard, play hard. Because as hard as he worked, he played and we played. And we'd go on all these awesome motorcycle adventures and we'd go
mm.
to music festivals and dance by the, firelight and just all these cool things, most of which I probably shouldn't even say on a Zoom call.
Well, it's
But
just the
then
three of us. But
Oh no, I'm recording.
it's being
I
recorded.
didn't know
Oh, I'm
that.
sorry, I should have let you know that,
Oh,
Melissa.
okay. Got it.
But then like come Monday morning, he was back in his suit and tie and seeing patients, and loved his work and
Yeah.
poured his heart and soul into it. And I always wanted to find something that
Did he
I,
do a lot of pro bono also?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
very much so. And he was just, he loved what he did and he knew he was helping people. And he, I think, was not just proud of what he was doing, but it gave him a passion to keep doing it more and more and more. So he worked up until the day he died. And he had that passion though for like everything that he touched. He bought a farm with my mom, and uh 3 days before he passed away, he was out there mowing 13 acres. Like
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
just an unbeatable drive. And I guess I don't know if I got it nature or nurture or a little bit of both, but
Mhm.
I just
Mhm.
aspired to be like that. I wanted to be someone who loved what they did every day, who makes a difference every day, who works as hard as you possibly can to make this planet better than it was yesterday,
Yeah.
and still at the end of the day, just be like, what a great day. Let's do it again tomorrow. So I think that's really where the drive came from.
Okay, so
Then,
let's get you to college so Melissa can really hear about your hustle because
well, I'm
this.
going to go even further back than that. So I'm going to mix that passion and that drive with my
Okay.
mom.
Yes,
And
yes, 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 yes.
my mother is like a firecracker, fire, just power beacon. If she wants something, it will happen. And
I
she's one of
wonder
those
where
people.
you got that.
And she's one of those people where it's like, she's not going to say, can I do this? She's going to say, I'm doing this. Whatever
Wow.
obstacle, we're going to clear it out of the way. And so I think having the two of them side by side, my mom is also very obstinate if you tell her no. Like I said, she wants to know how it can be done. And she's very much like if plan A doesn't work, she has 47 other plans. One of
Wow.
them will work. And if one of those doesn't work, she'll come up with 48. So, following also in her footsteps and being the very, very independent person that she raised me to be,
Yeah.
I remember in seventh grade sitting down at our family computer asking Jeeves, and I
I
said,
remember Jesus.
right? I said,
Yeah.
how do you buy a house? And Jeeves said, you needed a job, which I couldn't have because I was 12, good credit, and a high, what was the other one? Oh, now I'm blanking. Credit score, income,
Yeah, Melissa
and
will know. She's a new agent.
oh,
Let me go back to
No.
Ask Eves. I remember now that
hold
you.
on, Jeeves. Well, the one that I really focused on was good credit because I knew
Yeah.
like the other
Yeah.
ones I couldn't have yet. So then I asked Jeeves, how do you get good credit? And it said you can start with a credit card. So at 12 years old, I applied for my first credit card, told all true information, but I lied about my birthday. I put 1981 instead of 91. Got denied. But Capital One sent me a pre-approval. Wonder who's going to watch this and be like, wait
Now,
a minute.
wait, did your parents know you were doing this or you're just
No,
independent? Yeah, of course. No.
this was my mom's independence shining through me.
Oh, that's
So then
funny.
I got a credit card in the mail with a whopping $100 limit.
Yeah.
But every time you would make the bill or, pay it off or whatever, your credit limit would go up. By the
Nice.
time I graduated high school, I had to call them and lower the limit because it was at like $45,000 or something just
Jesus.
horrible. I'm like, someone's gonna buy a boat in my name. And that was when my parents learned that I had gotten a credit card.
Did you just send the payment through the mail or something? I guess that's
It
what
was
people do.
online.
Oh, online. Okay.
And my parents were financially savvy. And so, like, my dad, like, he had bank accounts for my brother and I, and he was teaching
Mhm.
us, how to use things. But he thought we were doing it on a very restricted level with a debit card and everything. He could see the transaction.
Mhm.
But he forgot I'm also half my mother.
Were you using, because you kind of have to use the credit card to
Oh
get
yeah.
your score, and then you would pay it at the end of the month.
I would literally
Or
buy like $5 or $10 worth of something every single month
candy.
and then immediately pay it off. So I go to
Wow.
college and I have over an 800 credit score because I had 8 years of
Wow.
history, or sorry, 7 years of credit history. Um, got my first job, and then I had a full scholarship on an academic scholarship, but they still offered me grants and scholarships, or sorry, and
It was like
loan
a
money,
living
yeah, for
assistance. Yeah.
different experience, yeah, expenses. So I actually took out a $30,000 student loan, let it season in my account while I was homeless because I couldn't quite afford rent and to save up to buy.
But
So I
you're in
knew there was going to be
college
a
at this,
trade-off.
you're in college at this point, so you weren't living in the dorms or anything.
I
Or was
lived
it
in the dorm
summer?
my freshman year, but this is after we had to move out of the dorms. And
Okay.
this was when the money was seasoning. Because, see, I still had to go to college. I had to apply for the loans. I had to wait for it to hit my account. Then I had to wait for it to season. Now it's the end of the year, and I'm like, oh, shucks. If I go rent something, I can't afford to buy. So I
Right.
lived in my car that entire summer.
Now,
Wow.
did your parents know about that? No,
Now
there's
they
no.
do.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure they knew I did not have a permanent living situation, but I would just say like, "Oh, I'm crashing on so and so's couch," or "I'm on so and so's couch," whatever. Also,
Mhm.
this was another time that my mother's extreme independence shone through. I refused to ask them for help, so I didn't want them to know what was going on. And they did actually come to visit me that summer. I called my friend Alex and I said, "Hey, can I drop my bags of clothes off in your living room and make it look like I've been sleeping on the sofa so that my mom can meet me at the house and then we'll immediately leave?" So I did do that.
Mhm.
So remember all of this when Aaron gets older, right? Remember all your strong wills that
Yes.
Yeah,
Strong-willed is such a backhanded, great, dangerous quality to have. But I
yeah.
wanted it so bad. And I knew it was meant to, I just knew it was meant to be for me. But, it wasn't without my dad's work hard, play hard mentality. So I remember this one college party in particular where we were dancing salsa, may or may not have been partaking in some tequila shots. And then I was like, all right, guys, I have to sober up. And they were like, what? You're not driving? Like, you don't even have a house to drive to. Where are you going? And I was like, oh no, I have an exam for calculus at 8 a.m. So give me some time. So it's not that it was like terrible, weirdly enough. It was just like, this is what I got to do to make it happen. My poor realtor, Brian, thought I was crazy because he's picking me up from campus and driving me places to go see these different apartments and townhouses because I didn't even have a car. I was actually living in my friend Megan's car because we split the car payment, but it was technically her car. So we did some interesting creative endeavors, but bought my first house. I remember closing was supposed to be scheduled for like early or mid-June. And I said, can we wait until June 25th to close? And the attorneys were like, well, you're going to have to like amend the contract and you have to do this and that and like whatever. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. Let's do that. They said, why would you possibly want to hold off and amend contracts and waste all this time? I said, because I don't turn 18 until June 25th. So then we go to closing. The sellers nor my agent showed up. So it's me with the closing attorney. And he looks at me and he was like, you're the one buying this house? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, well, we give every person closing here a bottle of champagne to congratulate them. I was like, well, It's my 18th birthday. And he looked at me and he goes, "You deserve this even more." How many people am I going to get in trouble with this webinar?
No, different times. Not that
So it
long
was
ago.
yeah, and I was so proud. Oh my gosh. Like to this day, I actually follow my townhouse's address on realtor.com just
See,
to see my first home grow.
I never look back. When I go back to LA, I'll never drive by my old house out there, my old condo. No.
I mean,
So,
sometimes it's heartbreaking, but there's just a part of me that it's like, this was a piece of my story.
well, you do something that I find very hard to do, which is 2 years later, you renovated the house or whatever, and then you turn around and I don't know, flip is the right word, but then you sold it so you could invest in a bigger house in a better neighborhood. And I find that um that's anxiety ridden for me. It's like I'm here, I own something, I own the roof over my head. That's good enough. But you're like always, go, 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 more, more, more. And you've been doing that since a very young age.
Yeah, I think for me, tangible things just never had a lot of value. When I think about my favorite things in this world, not one of them is physical. And, when they would ask you I remember being asked in like fifth grade, like, if your house was on fire, what's the one thing you would grab and run out with? And I was like, I don't know, my mom, my dad, my brother, our dog, our cat. And they're like, no, but like, what's the one thing? And there's just no
Passport.
thing that's that important to me. Yeah. So I guess I'm lucky in that aspect. Um, of course, then I turn around and I marry the most sentimental man I have ever met in my life, who everything has a story for, who is just cherishes his belongings and his space. And so that's interesting to navigate. Um, but
You've
yeah,
created a beautiful, beautiful home, though. But if you're willing, the private conversation we had was you had that pivotal moment when it's very sad. Your father passed away, but I think that's when you quit your job as a teacher, right? And you're just like, there's no time to waste. This is how I honor my father, and I'm putting words in your mouth. So, do you want to share that? Because
so
I
I
know
had been considering leaving the classroom because I loved teaching, loved middle school. I got my master's to go into administration. Like I never wanted to leave.
okay.
And then
Oh, we only
COVID,
have 10 minutes left, but that's fine. That's
oh, I'm
fine.
so sorry.
No, no, no. We're going to do a part B. Go ahead.
So COVID came, took away my love of the classroom, and really just put things in perspective after we lost my grandmother who helped raise me, my brother-in-law, Troy's brother, and my dad back to back to back. And I just had a whole moment of what's really important? Who am I doing this for? What am I doing this for? And is this the best that I can do? And I just at that moment realized I've done the best that I can do in the classroom. Now we're going to do something different. And Troy was really the one that kept pushing me to kind of pursue my Airbnb dream. And it was always a side hustle, but teaching was my main job. And he was like, you make more money, you have more fun, you have more freedom. Why don't you pursue short-term rentals? So I actually didn't renew my contract right before my dad got sick, but I was still like kind of shaky, like, is this the right decision? I don't know. And for the last 6 months or last 5 months of his life, I got to pretty much go home and live with my parents.
Yeah.
And that was the most validating time for me when I realized like this is worth it. Now I can really spend time on what matters the most, which to me was family.
Tell us quickly, and like I said, we'll do a part B, but tell us quickly. I Facebook stalk you, of course, but the trip to Airbnb in California, were you invited? Is it as a super host, or did you just make a pilgrimage? Like, what? What was that for and about?
So, about 5 years ago, I think it was, Airbnb reached out to me and they said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" They said, "You have more referrals than anyone else in your time zone. How are you
Oh,
convincing people to join Airbnb?" And honestly, it was just grassroots. I started in college with that townhome. I think I kind of became synonymous for a lot of people that I knew with Airbnb because they'd never heard of it until me. So then, fast forward a couple years, my friends are all buying houses, getting married, moving in together, and they had an extra house. And so a lot of people just kept asking me for help with Airbnb. And so they said, "Great, we want to bring you on as an ambassador, and you can help new hosts get started." So I still do that. And
that's
that's
a
what the
paid position. They pay you for that?
It's a referral based. So I don't necessarily get paid for the work, but I do for each person that I bring in and help successfully host.
Mhm.
But it's cool too because like I get to hold someone's hand and say, here's how you do it right. Here's how you can enjoy it. And I really like I love hosting. So why wouldn't I want to show somebody else my love for hosting? And it kind of
Mm.
also taps into that teacher side of me where I'm teaching you how
Mm.
to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, Melissa and I had a little mentoring session about real estate. And I mean, I enjoyed it as much as I think she
Oh, it's
enjoyed it. It
great.
was,
Yeah, it's great.
yeah, that the satisfaction of, I used to see her light up. Like by the time we went to the third house, she's like, okay, out of my way, Sarah. I mean, no, it just, that confidence building. So I really, really enjoy that. And I don't think I've actually ever taught before, but
Oh, well, you
I'm
were great.
young. I'm young.
You were great at it. So,
It's
Okay, but
fun
I know,
and
always, but
really I what I really love is when people say, "Elizabeth, I thought I was going to lose my house, but you've allowed me," because I'm really passionate about house hacking and renting your spare room, your basement,
mm,
your ADU when you're out of town, carving out, the most creative possible way to get the most dollar out of this house. I was actually at City Hall today in Atlanta,
yeah,
speaking in front of City Council about some of the people that I've helped in Atlanta, like a retiree that found out she had a brain tumor, so she was in and out of the hospital, and to help pay her hospital bills, she would rent her house while she was there.
mhm,
Or a divorcee. She didn't want to lose her husband and her house, so she rents her spare bedroom. Another guy who's downtown had a daughter, didn't want to have to get a second job and spend more time away from his family, so he built an ADU and he rents it out. Troy and I,
mhm,
we rent our basement apartment so that we have space for in-laws and also to help pay our mortgage. It's what helped
yeah,
pay for
and
IVF. Aaron wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for short-term rentals. Because I did
mm,
not make enough money as a teacher, that's for sure.
yeah, yeah.
And so at this point, it's just like integrated in
Yeah, you
every
have
bit
an
of
amazing eye. So I'll just go on the record also. Elizabeth is the one that came to my house and was like, oh yeah, we can split it right here. And you do a little, mother-in-law suite there. And then you have this part of the house. And she had the contractors and
and it
it
looks
was amazing.
adorable.
Oh, it's so, yeah, I get jealous because I didn't have enough money left over. I'm waiting to get to that point where I can do my half of the house also, but so let's see, we have 4 minutes. Melissa, any questions for Elizabeth?
no, I'm just enjoying hearing your story and seeing, how you have progressed in your life since I'm in the middle of a career change also. So it's like, I have to do it. Like I've got to do it because it's just me. If I don't do it, then I don't, eat,
Yeah.
So it's good to hear the work and the drive, and I like that a lot. So thank you.
I've got one big question before we leave. I mean, this is just so interesting to me on the Village Facebook page that started out with 3 people on it. Elizabeth has 8,000 followers on there. And as I mentioned earlier, we're only about 6,000 people that live in the village. But how did that organically, I know you didn't pay for ads or anything. That just people, what is there a secret to that? Because I'm just trying to grow all my followers on social media and all over.
So I think I like to fulfill an empty space. If I see there's a need, you know, some people are really good at um, finding other people to fit that space. I don't know. I guess maybe it's a control freak in me, but I'm like, I can do that. I can fix that. I can make that happen. And when I first moved to the village, I kept asking people, how do you know about events? They said it's
Exactly.
all word
Right.
of mouth.
Right. And now your page has become the go-to place. Yeah.
Well, I said, well, who's word of mouth? Because nobody's telling me. And they said, oh, you got to meet people. Well, how do I meet people if I don't know where to go? And then I kept asking, you know, where is the source of knowledge? And they said it doesn't exist. And I thought, well, that sounds like a need. And it's really cool. I was actually at a friend's house yesterday. We were
Mhm.
doing a little craft night, and the Facebook group got brought up, not by me, by somebody else. And then one of the women that was there, I should have asked her more, but she goes, that Facebook village group, my husband swears by it. She said it saved his job.
What?
And
What?
and she left no
Oh,
explanation after that.
Oliver. Hi, Oliver.
Oh, sorry.
But
He's
no,
ready to
I went to him.
play.
So,
So
I mean,
like
was he like, did he advertise on the
I have no
page?
idea. I don't know if he got, yeah, business from
But
there.
she
I
didn't
don't
know.
know.
Did she know that you were the one that started it?
She found out later because my friend told her, she goes, oh, well, Elizabeth's actually the admin on that. And I was like,
Yeah.
I know I didn't want to like seek clout, but it was just cool. And I've had people come up
Yeah.
to me and say, like, I only came to this event because of your page, or I
Yeah.
only knew about XYZ because of your page. So obviously there was a need. And I think because there was no ads and it was all grassroots, it just took off because people wanted it to.
No, and that makes sense because I told all my new neighbors because I have a few new neighbors, are you on Facebook? Go to Facebook, go to here it is. Face what do we got? Oh, Stone Mountain Village Facebook
Yep.
page. Yeah.
And I think a lot of
Awesome.
it too is when you provide knowledge to people, you
Yeah.
empower them. So whether it be me teaching you how to Airbnb your house, whether it be me teaching you science in a seventh grade classroom, whether it be me teaching you what events are going around in the city, I am providing knowledge. Knowledge is power, and people like power.
Okay. So because this is gonna shut down on us and saying thank you so much, everybody.
Do you want
And
to do a part B tonight, or do you want to close it out and do it
no,
later?
not to
Okay.
I didn't have as busy a day as you, but I am kind of tired. But no, we'll definitely plan and yeah, thank you so much.
Well,